Well, hi again, everyone. Welcome into UnAnchored Boston with Bob Lobel. I'm Mike Lynch, and as always, we are brought to you by Cold Springs RV, your destination for all things camping. And where? We're in New
Where?
Hampshire.
Where?
We're in New Hampshire. Yes, you got that right,
Yeah,
Bob.
okay.
And
That's right.
George Gray, the big wheel we call him, at George Gray's Lexington Toyota, 409 Mass Ave in Lexington. All right, with us today is, speaking of big wheels, we've got the biggest wheel of them all, and Dan Shaughnessy. So much to talk about, and here with the formal introduction, it's the one and only big wheel himself, Bob Lobel.
Yeah, the big wheel, the big deal, the big fraud. Okay, Danny and Mike, here's the deal. We talked about this just before we began this, that we're in the middle of the playoffs. We're talking before the third game of the Red Sox Yankee series, so it is what it is today. So we can talk about what happened in the past and what might happen in the future, and we'll just play it by ear. And we're not going to pretend we're somewhere else. We're in real time. And I just want to jump right to Dan's column this morning about, I'll say, last night's Red Sox game, because the last two have been remarkable.
Ooh, fun.
Remarkable. I mean, we know it's fake. We know these wild card things have been added to make money for everybody, but it sure has provided entertainment. I don't care. I mean, that's really what it's about. But I want to and you guys can comment about that anytime you want. As soon as I'm quickly answer Dan is talk about his column today, describing last night's game. And there was one thing he brought up, and one other thing he didn't bring up, and I want to bring up on the Red Sox last night in a game that they lost. A lot of it has to do with pitching. It's it used to be spawn and sane and pray for rain. It's crochet and pray at this particular point. But Jared Duran had a catchable ball last night. Correct. We agree with that. Catchable ball. And they ruled the friggin' thing a hit, which is just drove me crazy, because it was anything but a hit. And he owned it. He owned it. But it should have been an error, and that's just Major League Baseball today. The other thing, and back to fundamentals, was Cedar Rafaela's pathetic bunt attempt. I mean, the three of us, me in a wheelchair, could have laid down a better bunt. And it just seemed like a guy at that particular level, as a great center fielder and a great player, you figure there's one thing fundamentally you got to be able to do. At least attempt to have okay, I'm done ranting. Okay, I'm sounding like a Red Sox fan, which is the last thing I want to sound like. Okay, your thoughts. Anybody, jump in.
Well, I mean, on the two things. First of all, the scoring decision on the ball, it was Judge's ball. So, I mean, you always worry about hometown cooking. They want to give Judge a playoff hit, make his playoff numbers a little bit better. It's not that. It's an MLB, in my view, an unspoken edict that everything's a hit, and that therefore these averages, which are so puny, they're organically suppressed. We'll try and boost them anywhere we can, including everything's a hit. Also, when you call everything a hit, when it's a hit, you make two people happy, and that's the fielder and the batter. The only guy who gets screwed in that is the pitcher, and the pitchers don't complain about this. They've learned to live with it. So this has changed. Fenway's as bad as anywhere in baseball. Everything's a hit. You can't. The Bill Buckner play with Mookie Betts, that'd probably be a hit today. I mean, everything's a hit. So there's no standards. It's a disgrace. It's Major League Baseball, but this is, and the scorers, they're not allowed to talk anymore. We don't know who they are. It's this strange system. I can't tell what New York's calling the shots, the guy on campus, but it's not Joe Gigliotti sitting there. You can go up and argue with him. Joe, you got to change that. That was an error. So that ship has sailed. And I tweet it every time I see a game at Fenway. I'm like, the big joke of the last scoring decision. They did overturn one post-tweet like a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, I wonder if I helped with that. But anyway, so that's that. The bunting thing, well, they can't do it. They don't practice it, and it's not part of the skill set that gets you to the big leagues.
I mean, that's a pretty important situation. I mean, that is almost like, you can look at one or two plays and you say, Jesus, if he lays down the bunt, maybe this, maybe that. We don't know what would have happened, but you sure would have had a hell of a lot better chance than flying out to the pitcher.
Yep. I mean, and Rafaela, he does some things. He's got great skills, as you say, that, Gold Glove caliber center field. And he worked a walk that was really critical to them winning that game on Tuesday, game one. It was like a 10-11 pitch walk after being 0-2. That's great for him, because this is a man who never walks. They always say you don't get off the island by you swing the bat. So that's what they do. And he's not good at bunting. He's not good at walking, but he at least got a walk for you on Tuesday.
You know, it's great to be reminded how much fun October baseball really is, because I had forgotten, how much fun it was, because it was only 4 years ago was the last time they played in October. This is a blast. I mean, I love it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, really, they won in 18, and then they've only been in it once in the 7 seasons since then until now. So yeah, we're a little starved for it, and given how often they were in the playoffs, they really haven't had long droughts. So it's great. And even watching the other series, I mean, 3 of them went 1-1 in the best of 3. So it's a lot of action. And if you're watching and it's all been adjudicated, don't send us well, that didn't age well. Tweet, please, because we're not interested. We're talking before these games were played tonight. We don't know who's going to win.
See, this is why losing is more important than actually winning. You remember the losses more than you remember the wins in most cases. But for 86 years, they lost. And then they won, and how special that was. Now, this is compressed into a 4-year drought, which was, they've gone from pathetic for 4-year droughts to this, and everybody's as excited as they were in 2004. Oh, in the same, not at the same magnitude, but with the same emotion. Am I making any sense?
Well, I'm going to dispute the 2004 equation, and you covered yourself there a little bit, Bob. But I mean, it'll never be like 03-04. That was the zenith. We said it then. You and I both, we all said it. The day after they won in St. Louis, it'll never be the same. It never has been. That was a one-off. I mean, but the height of their interest and popularity was then. But this is nice. So they're playing the Yankees. It's a winner-take-all game to advance. This is great. So we don't need to parse out the fact that it's, they're still 2 of 12 teams that qualified for the postseason. There were only 3 teams in Major League Baseball that won more than they lost that didn't qualify for the postseason.
Yeah, that's really interesting. They are
the
Mets.
But we're here, and it's fun, and let's enjoy it.
I want to get back to that bunt. And one of my pet peeves every year is you get down to spring training. Okay, today we're going to do bunting. They bunt like crazy. The pitchers cover first base, and it's never practiced again, ever. The regular for the next 6 months. And so, as always taught, you never want to pop up a bunt, obviously. And so that's why you don't hold the bat at this level and go up to bunt the ball. You start high and you come down. So when you bunt the ball, it goes on the ground. You can a Major League Baseball player cannot pop up on that. It's just a cardinal sin. Might even be a mortal sin, Danny. I'm not sure.
Well, nobody cares. They don't practice it. So it's a big ask when you ask them to do it. Because like you say, they don't practice it. I mean, just watch batting practice. They don't do it anymore.
Never.
Well, just not only this last night, but even in the other games, you find teams like the Tigers that never bunt, all of a sudden bunt. They're just things, all of a sudden it becomes an important weapon. And how can something that can be so important in one given moment not be at least practiced?
It's a fair question, and we have no answers.
I think if Bill Belichick was a baseball manager, he would practice bunting every single day.
Yeah, Bill Belichick loves long snapping and bunting.
Yes.
Well, anyway, which brings us to the Cora Aaron Boone matchup here. I mean, Cora he pantsed him in game 1, and he's really, you can see him as a manager now. He's really getting into it as a manager in this postseason in a much different way than he did during the regular season. I mean, do you agree with me or not on this?
I think Cora had a great game on Tuesday, and last night again he emptied the kitchen sink, and it didn't work, and that's why he's in trouble tonight. If he can pull this one out, that'll be really good, because he went for it yesterday, seeing my guy doesn't have it, and I don't want to let more bleeding. He brings in 6 relievers. And they all did the job, including Whitlock. But then Whitlock was asked to go one more inning than he's used to going, and he tired by his own admission. He got tired. He didn't have his command, and they pushed a run across. A lot of things went into that as well. It wasn't like he just started giving up home runs everywhere. But So Cora got what he wanted out of taking out his starter after 28 pitches, 11 batters. But when you only have two starters on your team and you're in a playoff series and you use one of them for 28 pitches, 2 1/3 innings, now you're putting the bullpen through 125 pitches, and now you got a game tonight. So where are you going to get those pitches when you got a kid who's only pitched 4 major league games starting tonight? It would be great to get 6 or 7 out of him. He's never gone more than 5 1/3, and he shouldn't be asked to do that. So again, it's all you could see anything. You could see Crochet come out of the bullpen tonight. I mean, Bayo certainly has to be available after last night. I mean, it's all hands on deck tonight. So I'd be ready for anything because you just don't know what Connolly early, and maybe he'll spin a beauty, as Joe Morgan would say, and surprise everybody. His starts have been quality starts. He hasn't given up much of anything. So and he seems to have. He got through West Point for a couple of years. If he can do that, he can pitch in Yankee Stadium in a clinch game.
Maybe he'll be Billy Rohr all over again on the threshold, right?
Yeah, Billy Rohr unfortunately was April and there was 7 people in the stands. This is a little different tonight.
You know what's really fascinating too of these guys on the Yankees, Ben Rice and
Oh yeah,
and Cam Schlichter or Schittler or whatever, however you pronounce his name.
it's all over. It's unbelievable that young
I mean,
man's
here's a guy
father-
from Walpole and Needham, police chief is a stad. I mean,
Yes,
it's amazing.
Needham's
Between
police chief.
Cohasset and Walpole.
Yeah, and Walpole, that means the Tompkins regime down in Walpole, the great baseball. They've always had good baseball players. Joe Morgan and Richie Habner would go to the games. And when my son was playing at Newton North, Walpole would kick our ass all the time. They're just good at it. And this kid comes out of that. He's 6'6" and a little bit of a late bloomer, but he's a 2-time Global Scholastic. And it's hard not to root for that guy, even though he's pitching for the Yanks.
He went to Northeastern as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just it's
great.
amazing. Oh, and Ben Rice, a major contribution to the Yankees
Cohasset.
all year, and he can catch. He can do anything. It's just kind of fascinating that those
Yeah, it
two
is
guys
cool.
are such important parts.
Very
See,
cool.
oh yeah, it's hard not to root for those guys. I mean, Ben Rice
Yeah.
comes up and hits a 2-run home run, and I'm happy for the guy.
Well, and that's a weird thing. So Rice and Chisholm didn't start that game 1 against the left-hander, and that was one of the reasons Cora he starts Bayo, but he wanted his lefties in the game. Another reason he pulled Bayo so quickly because they don't like the matchup of Rice and Chisholm batting against their right-handed pitchers because they're really dangerous, and you saw they both were last night. So.
So
I think
against
they're
Early,
both-
now, Early, you think Cora will? I'm sorry, I think Boone will have Rice and those
Yes.
guys in the lineup tonight against
he's
Early.
He's got to figure out a way. He's got to have them both in the lineup tonight. Certainly Chisholm. He just does too many things. He saved the game with that backhand, that ball going up the middle.
No doubt about
And
it.
then he scored from first on a single, Eno Slaughter style. So yeah,
That was
I
a
mean,
great.
the
That was
speed.
a great. That was a great thing. Enos Slaughter. You added that in the column. today.
Yes,
That was-
yeah. You and 5 other people understood it, but that's okay.
No, that was. I love that. I mean,
Thank you.
I had to go back. I had to go back in your column just because you referred to 1978.
Oh, I know. I went just like that. No.
And
Same
then I
day,
had to go back
October-
to- I
October
had to go
2nd.
back to your column, and you Enos Slaughter said, did he say 1948 or was that 78? And so I'm thinking about it, but the Enos Slaughter thing was that was great. So, anyway,
Hey, let me ask you this, Dan. Everything's analytics now, but my interpretation of the post-game comments by Alex Cora last night's game, he went with his gut on Bayo as opposed to the analytics, and that's really something you really see these days.
Well, Mike, he did that the night before with Crochet too. You can be sure there were cell towers exploding all over, the Silicon Valley when he decided to leave Crochet in, third time through the lineup. He's thrown 115 pitches. He leaves him in the game, to pitch into the 8th. I mean, that would not be an analytic move. So, yeah, I mean, it's the old Grady Little, get the guy out of
right,
there.
leave me. You
The
just
whole
read
thing.
my mind.
So yeah, and it's funny.
I had.
Tara Sullivan, in her wonderful column, used the word correlalytics, and I called her. I said, "Did you make that up? That's really good." And she said, "Oh, I read that in Alex Spear." So I called Stat Masterson himself, Alex Spear. I said, "Did you make that up?" He said, "No." He said, "Scott Boros made it up." I hate that, but I got to use it because correlalytics is really good.
That is really good. That's fantastic. Fantastic. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what. We're all kind of excited, and it's been great. The whole thing's been great. I'll talk about Francona and Parcells. I love that, and I don't want to get away from this other, last night's game or the night before game and game 3 tonight with the Red Sox and Yankees. But you had a chance to talk to Parcells after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he did a book with Francona. I'd say legitimately 2 of the greatest names in Boston sports, most successful names in Boston sports as coaches. Now, a lot of people will say
He's
Tim
a coach.
Fox.
He's not a coach. He's a contributor.
Oh, that's right.
He's a contributor. If he contributed, he brought apples to the team after every single game, or he was the bus driver.
You have a hair across your ass about that, don't you?
I have a giant hair across my ass about that. Why can't you just say he's going in as a head coach and Dante Scarnecchia is going in? Tracy, the cheerleading coach, okay, she's a contributor. Gil Santos is a contributor. Bill Parcells is a coach, not an effing contributor.
Well, Billy Sullivan went in as a contributor. He was the inventor. He invented the team. He's a contributor. So I think if you invent the team, you're probably a contributor as well.
That just bugs the crap out of me.
Talk to Stacey James. The Hall of Fame is Stacey's thing. We all love him. He's been there forever. He really cares about that. So petition Stacey. Tell him your objections, and he will talk to you forever about the Patriot Hall of Fame. He cares about nothing more than that.
Good. We ought to get him on sometime and really grill him.
He could do hours. You could have him on for a week.
Yeah. Where's Vinatieri? That's my gripe.
He's got all the answers. Tell him. I'm telling you. He loves talking about it. It's great.
Okay, but I wanted to get Francona. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Is Stacey the twin brother of what's his name, the Miami quarterback who played for Georgia for 16 years before that? Carson, what's his name? University of Miami quarterback. Carson
Wentz.
No, the quarterback of the University of Miami. He used to play for Georgia. He looks like Stacey James' twin brother.
I gotta look that up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not, Mike. I wanted to get to Francona because.
Go ahead, Bob.
No, I just wanted to say we're bringing it back to baseball because it was just. Obviously they were up against it with the Dodgers, and they had probably no shot. But the fact that he even got them to the playoffs is remarkable, and it just reminds me of how great Francona was as a manager. It is still as a manager, and why can't we get managers like that? And I would say that although Cora, I would never dispute his ability as a manager. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's creeping up on Tito as well. The top 3 managers in Red Sox history for wins are Joe Cronin, Terry Francona, and Alex Cora's third.
So I don't know Terry better than anybody else, and I think that his success in Cincinnati, I think he would have loved to have been in Cleveland. I think his mark is still in that club.
Yeah, I mean he always got the best out of them, and they're still alive as we speak. So that's amazing testament to a lot of those guys are his guys. Cincinnati was really down, and in 1 year they finished ahead of the New York Mets with all that payroll. I mean that's an amazing achievement. And last night, I switched over after I was writing the Red Sox story, and they were in the 6th inning. It was a 3-2 game, and he had the bases loaded, nobody outs. The Reds were in that game, and then it was a little bit of a jailbreak after that. Mookie Betts getting 4 hits, 3 doubles. Talk about why can't we get players? But that was, and he's playing shortstop. He's going to be nominated for
Isn't
the
that
Gold Glove.
unbelievable? Isn't that unbelievable?
That thing is Babe Ruth like now. It's just so bad.
That's unbelievable that he's playing right field. He could play it, and now he's playing shortstop.
Gold Glove shortstop for the team that's probably going to win the World Series. I mean,
besides catcher, it may be the most important position on the field defensively.
He's already won 3 World Series. I mean, really, that does not get any better. As the days go on.
No.
You mean they asked him to play another position and he didn't complain about it?
Yeah, that too.
Good one.
Stunning.
Stunning. Well, who would you think would be like? Now we can talk about in real time terms, American League MVP. Not that is a big deal, but it's kind of a big controversy. Well, not a controversy. It's kind of really interesting because this kid in Seattle, Raleigh, is unbelievable. A switch hitting catcher doing what he's done is just out of otherworldly. But then so is Aaron Judge. So who is it going to be, Cal Raleigh or Aaron Judge?
I mean, that's a small vote. The votes have already been cast. The postseason doesn't count. And that'll be announced, I think, in early November. It'll be very close. There's been one tie. I think, I don't know whether it was Keith Hernandez that might have tied Stargell or something. There was one tie in the National League. But hard to do. The numbers, there's a lot of numbers for that to end up with the exact same number. But there'll be 1 and 2, 2 and 1, everybody's ballot. And it's fascinating. And, people say, well, the catcher hits 60 homers, his team finishes in first place. I mean, with the number 1 seed, what else was he supposed to do? And
he's a switch hitting catcher. Not only that,
hard to, and he's so likable. He won the home run derby. His dad, all the stuff. So the big dumper, great nickname, all those things. Judge it's historic. He won the batting title and he hit 53 homers. He's I think hit 54 times, which I think is just Ruth and I don't know maybe and Ruth and the cheaters. So I mean it's astounding, and he's a great team guy and a great captain. I have no idea. I think that the more that's 2 per city, 2 writers per city, and there are people who see the league all year, and they tend to stream a little bit toward analytics and WAR and that's probably going to reward Judge. Judge's slugging is significantly higher, his WAR is higher, and I mean people who see him every day. It's what he's doing is really it's like Ohtani, like on the other coast. So, but a catcher hitting 60 homers, switch hits, they finish first. What else can the guy do? So, yeah, it's really cast no aspersion on any vote for the other guy. I mean, whichever you vote for, you got a great argument because and I have no idea which way to land.
That'll probably never happen again. I mean,
two that strong. I agree, Mike. I mean, you're not going to get 2 guys that strong. So any other year it'd be a joke.
Absolutely. I just think it's. Do you think that every single person that has a vote recognizes what an incredible feat that was to hit 60 home runs as a catcher?
Yeah, these are guys who see like 180 games a year. I mean,
Right.
This is not some dope on a laptop who's got opinions. These are people.
So
who
there's
are
no
out there.
East Coast bias.
That can happen, but there's a lot of sentimental bias because Raleigh's such a likable guy, and Judge has won it a bunch of times. If you look at the NBA, people got tired of voting for Jordan. And, Barkley got it one year. Likable guys. Barkley was more likable than Michael Jordan, more fun. So I think 1993, but Jordan lost it a couple times just because he had won it too many times. That could happen to Judge this time.
Yeah, he's won it right. Ho hum Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
The anti-Yankee vote, basically, is what it is, right?
Yeah, could get some of that.
Well, we've asked you this before, Dan, about camping. Now that we're out on the road and we can go to Toronto, you're going to Toronto tomorrow, right?
If the Sox win tonight, I'll be in Toronto.
Okay, well, why don't you take a camper up there? That's a good
Okay.
idea. And then if you can go to Seattle after Toronto. Well, where do they go after Toronto? Probably Seattle, right? Or I don't know.
Well, very likely. I do think Seattle will be in the ALCS. Yeah.
Okay, and this one's a best of 5. People have to realize,
Correct.
it was a best
Yeah,
of 3,
so-
best of 5, now best of 7 at the last.
Right. And if the Sox win tonight, Thursday night, they will be in Boston for games 3 and 4 next Tuesday and Wednesday.
What a shit show that's going to be.
That'd be fun.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, the way I'm going to get to the commercials now. That I'm going to do this really quickly now, and then I don't know what Lynchy's going to ask you, but I know what I would ask you. But I'll let Lynchy. This is his department, so I'm not.
Oh, you can ask what?
I'll ask him when we get to it. But I'm just talking about Cold Springs RV and taking your RV up to Toronto, and after that you can drive out to Seattle and see all the wonderful things. And if you didn't have an RV and it might be too expensive for you to fly or go out and get a motel, because RVs will get you there and be a lot cheaper. Just going around following your favorite baseball team, mortgages and rentals, too expensive, then consider an RV living. So if you're ready to see what's new in 2026, Cold Springs RV has next year's models and they're arriving daily. Go check out the latest in pop-ups and travel trailers, fifth wheelers and motorhomes. I mean, it's all there. They have showers, they have bathrooms, they have cooking facilities, they have cable. Well, you don't have cable, you can't carry the cable with you, but obviously you don't need cable anymore. So at Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open and you can freely browse. If you want to see the latest in camping, go to Cold Springs RV. Where are they? They're in Ware, New Hampshire, which is
Where's that from?
north of Tingsboro and west of Goffstown. Your destinations for all things camping. Or you can go online, coldspringsrv.com. Check it out, coldspringsrv.com. So Mike's questions to Dan. Dan, you've had 100 times been asked this question by us, but you're one of our favorite guests, so we don't mind coming back to you and always coming up with a different answer. So Lynchy, go ahead.
All right, you're gonna pick someone to ride shotgun with you. We'll give you the Lobel Lynchy Cruiser for 7 days. The person has to have played in a World Series. Any team, past, present, alive, or deceased.
Oh,
What World Series participant would you like to ride cross country with?
Babe Ruth.
What would you
That'd
ask?
be
What are some of the questions you'd ask?
Oh, did he call a shot in Chicago when the pointed into the outfield for the home run? Did he have a relationship with Harry Frazee? Was Harry Frazee like John Henry? I mean, how many hot dogs and beers can we stop at the next rest stop? What can we do there? His childhood in Baltimore, is finishing up with the Boston Braves. Just so many things that, just becoming this iconic figure that was talked about around the world by soldiers in the trenches of World War II. I mean, just Babe Ruth, the American icon. Sure. Give me him.
All right. What were you going to ask, Bob?
That was about managers and managers that he's had a chance to cover over the years. Who would he take as if he had to pick one manager?
Oh, the
would
trip?
it be?
On that trip? I mean, I drove to New York with Francona, and rode a train back from New York with Francona. That we could do it there. We never exhausted how much to cover there.
I would have said either Earl Weaver or Joe Morgan would throw in that mix. But
Earl, I miss Earl so much. He was so good to me when I was a kid. So yeah, you're right about that. And that I could never. There's a lot of interesting guys. I mean, Billy Martin would wear you out after a while. He was interesting. And I mean, my God, you could go back in time. I mean, I'd have to do some homework, regarding Connie Mack, some of those guys. But yeah, a lot of stories. So yeah, baseball guys. Sparky Anderson was a delightful guy, really good company. But a trip like that, you really want to have intellect and intellectual curiosity and all those kinds of things. So yeah, it's a good question.
so you're Francona. Is that your final answer?
Well, no, Francona and Earl. My final answer is going to be Earl Weaver because I just love him so much. He was so good to me, and I miss him.
Well, that's such a. Remember that tape he had with he had the mic on with the umpire.
Oh
Bill
yeah,
Haller,
Yeah.
right?
Bill
Bill Haller.
Haller.
Haller,
yeah.
right?
It was like that every night.
It was unbelievable, and you're right. That's the way he was, huh?
Every night he was hilarious, and you know, yeah, he was crude, but he didn't hold grudges. It was just a lot and he was very street smart. Yeah, he was a one in a million.
What was his relationship with Jim Palmer?
Well, that was very contentious, but it was funny in a way. They would just egg each other on. I mean, they respected each other, but there was a lot of trouble. They had a big argument about who's going to start Game 1 of the '79 playoffs, and Jim demanded we stop this right now and get someone lucid in the room. A word that no player would ever use. and an indication that he did not think Earl was lucid. But they were. He would always say, "Notice when Earl comes to the mound, he stands on the rubber. He wants to be as tall as he possibly can." on the mound because they would, the only thing Earl knows about pitching is that he couldn't hit it. There was a million back and forth with those guys, so we knew them all. But I was in the middle of a lot of those.
I noticed one time when you were dressing Palmer, you call them cakes.
Yes.
Was that because of crab cakes or because it was
No, that
crab?
goes back to the 1966 World Series, which is now friggin' almost 60 years, right? So
Yeah.
Wow.
he was 20 and he pitched against the Dodgers and he beat Sandy Koufax in Koufax's last game in the big leagues. Shut him out 6-0. Orioles swept that series against the defending world champion LA Dodgers had Koufax Drysdale. So he was very young and very handsome then, and there was a photograph of him with a stack of pancakes, the typical AP picture the day before, day after the game, and he was pancakes Palmer, and then everybody shortened it to cakes. It's kind of fit him. I don't know. I can't explain why, but yeah, that's his email. JP Cakes. He's yeah. It's everybody. Everybody calls him that. If you're around the team around Baltimore, it's just he answers to that. Yeah, I mean, and it fits. He's 80 years old, coming up. So yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I always, for some reason, I never asked you or anybody else. I just assumed was, well, sometimes he can be a crab cake.
No,
Yeah.
pancakes Palmer, and it just become cakes. I came along there in '77, and it was entrenched then. Everybody just called him Cakes. Anybody around the team. So if you knew him, that's what you called him. That's what he answered to.
Who did Palmer want to start with? Did Palmer want Flanagan to start in '79?
Yes, it was against Nolan Ryan the first game against. I have a ball on my shelf here that it was Eddie Murray hit a foul back off Nolan Ryan, and I caught the ball. So it's like two Hall of Famers involved in the pitch, and but I remember before that game, yeah, that was after they had clinched. There was this big, Flanagan was a Cy Young there. He was 23-9. Manchester, New Hampshire is the great late Mike Flanagan, and Jim just thought he deserved it, and he wanted him to have it. And Jim was not at the height of his powers at that time, but Earl wanted, it was all about the matchups and the high fastballs and the right-hander, in Memorial Stadium, a good pitcher's park. So he was angling for that, and Earl won it. The lucid guy was probably Hank Peters. The GM came in and overruled, but it ended up. The split was that Flanagan got the first game of the. Excuse me, Flanagan did get the first game of the World Series the way it rotated out, and Palmer pitched game one of the ALCS. And
Two Flanagan things. He was in that Bill Haller argument thing. He was on. He was the pitcher in that Earl Weaver Bill Haller thing. But when I was doing a radio talk show in Manchester, New Hampshire, one of our frequent callers was Flanagan's mother, Lorraine Flanagan, who was hysterical.
Yeah, they were great. His dad was a great guy, Ed, and the grandfather had been a pitcher up there and pitched with both hands, ambidextrous hurler. And Mike was one of the great storytellers, great athlete, every sport. He played freshman basketball at UMass, when Julius and Patino and those guys were up there. Julius was on the varsity. And Mike always talked about, yeah, we were having a scrimmage against the varsity one day, and I came up over the midcourt and started to pull up for my jumper, and Dr. J swatted it down to the other end of the court, and I knew it was time to go out and work on my slider. He said,
we played UMass at Fenway Park in the New England playoffs, and Flanagan was pitching for UMass, and he also played center field when he wasn't pitching, and he was throwing the first pitch fastball for a strike, and we were charting him in the dugout. And so Jim Stokel, who was our quarterback in football, was the third baseman. He said, I'm swinging from the on-deck circle at the first pitch. And we had a guy in first base who walked, and Flanagan throws fastball. Jimmy Stokel was about 5'10", 160. And at that time, they had the Coca-Cola bottles, I think. And it went off the Coke bottle. And there were about 100 people at Fenway Park, and two of them were Haywood Sullivan and Peter Gammon sitting right by our dugout. And Haywood turned to Gammon and said, if he gives up a home run to a little pipsqueak from Harvard, what are the major league hitters going to do against him? I will never draft this guy. He'll never be a major league pitcher. Ask Gammon. He will verify the story. And,
good call, Sully. Yeah, that's tough.
And that was the rest is history with Mike Flanagan. 2 Cy Youngs, I think. Is that right?
Just in '79. He was dominant that year, but he won 20. He won 21 other year and signed a contract with the Blue Jays, and then came back to the Orioles at the end. And then he was general manager of the Orioles a little bit after that too.
Right. Yeah.
So is this game tonight on Apple TV? Do you have Apple TV, Mike? Because I just want to know if you have it. Because if you don't have Apple TV, you're probably not going to be able to watch it.
My poor mother, she's 93, and she's calling me up, and she says, I cannot find the game. It's not on Nesson. It's not on TNT or whatever, whoever carries baseball. I said, Mom, it's on Apple TV. Well, how do I get it? I said, it's too long a story. By the time I finish explaining to you, the game's going to be over. But that was awful. It really was awful. And it just so happens that it wasn't like a meaningless game against the Kansas City Royals. It happened in big games.
Yeah, it came together very badly, and I saw it coming. And you try to warn people, but the old people, they're not reading on the internet every second. They're not keeping up with everything. They just know, hey, we're paying big dough to watch Nesson. We want the game when the game's on. And then one game of the year you want to see is last Friday, and it's not on, and everybody becomes aware of that at the last second. And if you don't, unless you have adult children in the room that can fix it for you, you're screwed. And I addressed it in the Sunday column. I said, we can blame Rob Manfred for the corporate greed of doing this, but the team, and it's very hard for me on that one. I'm not smart enough to know exactly who to blame on that, because we know it's MLB and Manfred, but I have to believe the Red Sox have some ability to make some sort of switch on a case like that when it's a special deal. So I can't prove it, but it was unacceptable. It'll never be forgotten, and
well, let's hope it'll never be repeated. One thing may not be forgotten. That's one thing. It may not be. Hopefully, it'll never be repeated, because there's clearly got to be a way that local media, and Nesson, I know, is more than local, but that's not our problem. That's their problem.
Those people pay a lot of money for Nesson over a course of years. That's a lot of loyalty, and when you screw them like that, that's bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Ryder Cup.
Oh,
well, Ryder Cup. I covered a couple of them. I went to Valderrama, Spain, in 1997 because we knew it was coming here in '99, so we were really loading up in that. In the Globe, we covered the hell out of that in '99. So I don't understand golf very well. I don't appreciate it like a lot of people, but I know how great these guys are, and I also know that historically, you end up rooting for the Europeans because they just present as better guys and more fun and more normal than our guys. And this was never demonstrated more than what we saw last weekend. And they have a team concept and a team ethos that we don't have. We have guys that are individual corporations, they're brands, and they're stuffy, and there's not much personality to them. Doesn't make them bad people, but they're just a creation of this system that promotes these savant golfers, and good for them. But the notion that their players are paid, the American players are paid $500,000, the European players are not paid. And American players will say, well, we give all our money to charity. Well, that's swell, but why do they have to get any money in the first place? And those kinds of things. When I covered it, would be Team Europe on the back of their hats and Tiger Woods on the back of our hats. It was just hard to like. And then you see that when the team play, the match play, the 4-ball, whatever the hell, those Saturday, Sunday, it's team concept, and they always kick our ass. I remember Constantine Rocca, whatever the guy's name was, he was a baker from Italy, and he would beat the hell out of Tiger in these things, and Colin Montgomery, Mrs. Doubtfire, the same thing. They would just walk all over our people in the team play because they're team guys. And then our guys, and then when you get around to Sunday, it's one-on-one, and our guys shine because it's all about me. And so you always have a chance to win every match on Sunday. And let's not even get into the disgrace of the patrons. And it's not everybody, but all it takes is one or two. And there was more than one or two. It was bad. It was America at its worst. It made you root for the Europeans. I was rooting for the Europeans. I did not want to see any of that behavior rewarded. Throwing drinks at Rory McIlroy's wife and Rory having to tell him to bleep off, and no silence, and not enough of our players going to the ropes and saying, stop this, knock it off.
Right.
Where's that? And the Europeans, they said, we want to kick their ass. Yep. I bet you they got so drunk and had so much fun on the plane home, about doing this to the Americans. All they would say was, 2 years from now, we will tell our people not to do that. And you know
Absolutely.
what? They will. And hopefully, my drunken cousins in Ireland won't be behaving like that when the thing goes there.
You know, and whose idea was it to hire Heather McMahon as the master of ceremonies, and she's using that filthy potty mouth chant about how does the PGA of America even get to the point of hiring her?
We could go down a path here that we don't want to go to. So we're
Yep.
just skip on down.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I was rooting for the Europeans as well for so many reasons. They just so much.
It's so much more likable.
Right.
The whole
Right.
concept of it.
Like, who do you want to hang out with? You want to hang out with Scotty Scheffler, or do you want to hang out with Shane Lowry? I mean, that's a no-brainer, right?
Yep. Yep.
I love when McElroy turned the whatever he said. Go, shut the fuck up. Right? I mean, he's in the middle of playing golf, and I've done that to myself. I swore to myself many
And
times.
then nailing shots after doing that too.
I
Yeah.
know
It's
that's
like,
exactly
it was-
right. Shut
that
the
was
fuck
power.
up.
That was
Watch
power
this,
moves,
and
man.
I hit it 3 feet from the pin. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you not root for that? Anyway, brings me to Rafael Devers. Speaking of controversy, turning point of the season. It was a big moment in a lot of ways. Take the money. We'll take the contract. Where are the Giants today, and where are the Red Sox, and did it really matter, and what was the impact?
It matters. I have a very unpopular view on this one, and let's get it out of the way first. Devers misbehaved. He behaved very poorly. No excuse for that. You go where they tell you to play. You pick up a glove and you do that. And when the owner flies to Kansas City, you listen. If I were the Red Sox, I would have suspended his ass, let the Players Association come and fight that. He's not doing what we're asking him to do, and he's in violation of his contract. I would not have given him away for a bag of balls to get out from under the contract and leave my team without any hitters. That's what they did, and they were applauded for it because everyone felt good because they don't like Rafi Devers because he wouldn't pick up a glove and he wasn't a team guy at the end. That's all true. All I saw was the Sox leaping at an opportunity to unload the money, which they hated more than the player, and get applauded for it. They achieved that in a masterful way and then corrupted the narrative with turn the season around. Bullshit. Roman Anthony turned the season around. Look it up. They won 7 of the last 8 games with Devers. I mean, the turnaround, and they did win after they got rid of him. Great. Are you telling me 35 home runs and 108 RBIs? He played 163 games. No one in baseball has done that in like 40 years. I know he sucked here and he struck out a lot. He wouldn't pick up a glove. Oh, and let's not forget, he wouldn't speak English. Everybody hates that. No. I never saw him disrespect anybody. I don't believe in baseball that it affects a clubhouse. I mean, you could say Nomar in '04, maybe dragging the rest of them down. But when they traded Nomar, they got Orlando Cabrera, a better shortstop the rest of the season. They got Mankiewicz, who did the job at first. They got Dave Roberts, who stole the most critical base in the last 100 years. They got baseball in return for that. They weren't just dumping the contract. This was a contract dump. They got Jordan Hicks, who sucked, and they got the other guy who's probably going to pitch a no-hitter tonight, now that I've said this,
Early.
Harrison, the left-hander.
Harrison. Right.
Neither one contributed anything to the season. They still owe Hicks $24 million, but they got out a $250 million contract, and they got the support of the fans because the smear campaign against Devers was significant. It was Nesson on down. I don't buy it. I didn't hear any players ever say anything bad about him. I didn't see it. And Mike Yastrzemski, who played with him for a month before he got traded from San Francisco, said, this guy's the greatest teammate ever. And he was a fine teammate here until this year. He wasn't a good teammate when he wouldn't pick up a glove. That's bad. But you don't just give him away. They gave him away because they knew they'd save the money and people would like them for it. Because now every crotchety old guy like ourselves is saying, yeah, they showed him, they got rid of him, and they got rid of the poison, and then they got to the playoffs. They would have got to the playoffs with him, and it'd be better. You telling me look up Devers' numbers against the Yankees. Jesus. I mean, They missed that bad. You got Rami Gonzalez hitting cleanup. He's 0 for a million in this series, and again, dangerous territory because he'll hit 3 homers tonight. But no, so that's my long answer on that one. I'm not a fan of what that, and I thought it was disgusting the way they smeared him on the way out the door. I got a million emails about him not speaking English. That was a big violation. Give me a break. That's not good. That doesn't show us at our best.
No, I agree that it's it was a polarizing move, no question about it, with the fans. I don't think it was a polarizing move inside that clubhouse. Now, I was never in the clubhouse this year, but I've been around Rafael Devers, for plenty of years when I was working, and he was a likable guy.
Totally. I never saw him. I think he got withdrawn. He didn't like it when they brought in Bregman. He felt threatened and he felt disrespected. But they should have handled that better. I mean, a lot of guys do. I mean, but in baseball, every guy is trying to do his best to get his numbers where it needs to be to get his next contract. Nobody's like, oh, I got a jerk playing DH here, and I don't like that, so I'm not going to try to get any hits tonight. No, it doesn't work that way. They have almost. It's not like basketball or football or hockey where you're really relying on those people next to you. It's not. It's an individual game. He didn't drag. He wasn't poisoned in the clubhouse. He wouldn't pick up a glove. That's bad. He didn't do what he was told. They should have suspended him. But they gave him a way to save money, knowing they would be applauded for it, and it worked.
You're in a very unique position, Dan, when you talk about emails and people that respond to you. And I think it's a very unique position because I think you really, apart from anyone else, understand and see the heart and soul of what Boston sports is about and what drives it. And whether it comes out in your emails, I mean, the stuff you must get has to be, for lack of a better word, unique. That I don't think anybody really can see and feel what you see and feel from the responses you get from not only your columns, but from the sports performances in general.
Well, you guys lived it at the height of Boston sports popularity when you were at the height of being the nightly anchors on sports on TV when it was a big deal and that whole thing. So you guys know it. You didn't have as much communication availability from the viewers because there was no email and comment lines and to your work. So it was more Jack Craig or people you run into at the restaurants or whatever like that. But you were aware of it. We become aware of it, instantly with the comments and it's right there. And it's like, I used to say, if I wrote a controversial column, I was at a Patriot game, and you'd find out like on Wednesday or Thursday that you suck because the mail would come in, like 4 days later. Now I suck before I even leave the press box because it's already coming at me, because it's already been posted and I'm waiting for a ride and the blowback is already coming your way before you've left the gym or the stadium. So yeah, it's instant, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's the Coliseum of commentary. It's fun.
But what about the content? What about the angst? And what is the messages overall?
Well, I appreciate that people care so much. You guys had great careers off of this. It's the best market to do what we do. Let's face it, people care. It's like it's amazing. You can't escape it, even if you're not a fan. The mania around here. My wife doesn't care about any of it, but she'll say, "What time's the Patriot game on Sunday?" Because she knows the stores will be empty if they're playing. So that's how her level of interest. But it reaches everybody, and I appreciate our readers, viewers, listeners, and they're smart. You make a mistake, they jump all down your throat. It's great, and that's the best part because the work that we do here matters to a lot of people because they care about it. They're passionate. That's what's so great about this game tonight. Here we go. And everybody knows just as much as we do and has their opinions about it. So it's fun.
You think you'd have as much interaction with the fans via email or the old-fashioned mail if you hadn't grown up here and gone to college here? And except for the years you worked for the Baltimore Sun, excuse me, you were always here. Do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I think, Bob Ryan, certainly, Bob grew up in Trenton. I always tell him he's still an outsider. It
Yeah.
doesn't count. He's only been here like 65 years, whatever. But I think that it does help. And, Mike, you have that. Bob, you don't. Bob's an outsider too. What does he know? Ohio guy, whatever.
Jack Craig used to always get on me. He says, "When you
He's
weren't
right.
from here, how are
He's
you
right.
able to say what you say? You're
I
not
mean,
from here." Jesus, Jack, give me a break.
You've done a good job, Bob, faking it all these years, but you cannot replicate the first 18 years of your life like Mike and I lived. It's just you can't do it. As Bob Ryan can't, you can't. It's okay. It doesn't make you a bad guy. You've done a good job faking it
Well, that's
from
very
this
kind
point
of you.
forward.
Thanks.
But that's all you can do. So no, it's. I think it's helpful.
Yeah, I do too. And you didn't sit in Fenway with an empty seat next to you and bang it and say, "We want to
Yeah,
hit. We want,"
yeah,
hollow out your popcorn thing so you could use it as a
yeah.
megaphone.
All this stuff. I mean, there's things that we know that you can never know. That's
Yeah,
okay.
none say it.
Okay, fine. Okay, mea culpa. I'll blame my parents. All right, don't blame me. Blame my parents. I could have run away from home and run to Boston. It just never crossed my mind. Okay, I'm sorry.
Doesn't make you a bad guy.
I
You
was
just
too
can't.
busy living next to the Amish. All right, don't get on me about this. I did the best I could under what circumstances I had to work
So
with.
those just your wasted youth. That's all.
I can't help it. It's just
Mhm.
Jesus. Did you get any blowback from John Henry? I don't know if I asked you this
No,
before.
it's.
I mean, seriously, if anybody
I'm
that's
liking it
job
more
is
and
on
more.
the line,
I
every
really.
time you go on the Globe and say John Henry, who also owns the Globe, and you ever even think the guy's going to say, "Okay, enough, Dan, you're done.
I
Stop criticizing
I
my ball club, Dan. You're
I'm
out
going to
of here."
check my phone when we're done here and see if that message has come through yet, because I'm ever mindful that that's coming, and I wouldn't blame him. I give him great props for letting this continue, because it can't be any fun. I'm not a friend of the state, but I feel objective and neutral, and when good things happen, we write really good things, and I always say that. Go look at the walls of Fenway Park; it's all there, and I wrote it. And so when good things happen, we write good things. And when bad things happen, we write bad things. That's the way it goes. But I give him a lot of credit for letting this relationship go on when you own the paper and could lose this guy in a second, and life goes on. So that I appreciate my job, and the fact that as much as he doesn't like me, he allows me to do this.
And how you told us last time, I forget. Was it the last time you had a conversation with him? Was
Really, it was 2009. Since then,
Jesus.
it's just been kind of little snide things here and there. But yeah, just little, yeah, little remarks. But no actual conversation since '09. Yeah.
wow.
You mean little remarks? There's no little remark when it's your boss.
I know we're a podcast, but you're not going to get that out of me.
Okay. Good one.
Well, always trying, just dangling the carrot out there.
Yeah.
All right, how about the relationship with Breslow? Not your relationship, but how would you?
You know,
See,
I'm still. This has been a great year, but they're really not prepared for what's happened, and maybe they'll win tonight. So this is tricky territory, because when people watch this, they could be gung ho and plowing through the Blue Jays en route to the ALCS. So I'm
in their
reluctant,
camper, right? Everybody in their camper. Okay, go ahead.
but I don't like where they are right now to be in the playoffs. Have two starters, um, two relievers. I mean, there have been more relievers. That's not fair. The lineup's really thin. They don't. How many bona fide major league hitters do they have? Two. Story and Bregman right now. And Story was scuffling for a long time, but the rest of them. Look at how many players in that lineup have been released by other teams. I think five of them. It's like, and you're really thin. The Yankees, the top four hitters in the Yankees lineups have been MVPs in the major leagues.
Yeah.
And that's counting Goldschmidt, who's not even any good anymore. But I mean, so they're coming at you with four MVPs, and you got, Nate Eaton and the used car salesman Nathaniel Lowe, that guy. I mean, he's got a nice swing up there, but my God. Someone said he looks like he got a Red Sox costume for Halloween. It's like,
He's got a belly hanging out.
yeah. He seems a pretty elegant first baseman, and I like him up there with a guy on third and one out. He'll put the bat in the ball and get the guy in. He's
Or
old
try to
school.
bunt and pop it up.
He's
You know,
old school, but yeah, he looks like slow pitch softball.
remember the great line from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid when they were getting chased by the posse, and they would just every once in a while Newman would say, "Who are these guys?
Yeah.
Who are these guys?" And I
Yep.
find myself, when going through the Reds now here's tonight's Red Sox lineup, and I look at it and I go, "Who are these guys?"
Yeah. Rob Refsnyder leading off, 10-year veteran, been let go by like 5 teams, and Rami Gonzalez batting cleanup, released by the worst team in the history of baseball, Chicago White Sox.
Who are these guys, Bob?
Well, the one thing I have to give him credit for by the season it had is that most people do recognize most of the names now and where
Yeah.
they play.
And Gonzalez,
there is this
having said that about
recognition
Gonzalez,
that
I mean,
wasn't
he's
there.
had a hell of a year. He's hit 300. I mean, he's played great for them. Multiple positions. He's got power. He's got speed.
Who's that?
Gonzalez. What were the White Sox thinking? He's pretty good.
Well, anyway, that's good. This is all good. I guess this is trying to exhaust my. And of course, there's the Yale thing, Mike. Breslow, Bloom, Theo. What more can I say about Yale?
Yeah,
Tom Yawkey was a Yale man.
Absolutely.
I know it. And speaking of colleges, Dan, Harvard Holy Cross this weekend.
Yeah, I think Holy Cross is winless, and we're not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
You are what the record says you are.
I know. I miss Tim Murphy, but how are you guys this year?
We beat Stetson 59-7. We beat Brown 49-7.
Okay.
Wow, what a wagon!
I predict a close game at Fitton Field.
Yeah, great play. One of the great places, underrated places to play. Fitton Field.
Nice job.
Cozy, and I think they give up a big advantage when they go over to Polar Park and play a home game over there.
Yeah, well, except Harvard. Yeah, you're right, because Harvard kicked the crap out of them when they had a good team a couple years ago.
Yes, they did.
At Polar Park. I was at that game. Yeah.
Hey, let me get a spot in here for our good friend George Gray.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're thinking about a new vehicle, excuse me, go with Lynchy, Lobel, and Dan and his family. Go see our good friend, the great George Gray at George Gray's Lexington Toyota. We all have been customers for years because they know that George Gray will treat you right. They're family-owned and operated dealership that we trust, and you can trust as well. Go see the big wheel, the great George Gray at George Gray's Lexington Toyota, 409 Mass Ave in Lexington. And we, if you count the number of cars that our 3 families have, driven from George Gray, it's in the high double figures, I think.
I just got a new Camry. I got a new Camry. It's like a friggin' Lexus. This thing's unbelievable.
That's good to know. That's good. That's even the best.
So good. It
incredible.
Drives quiet. Man, oh man.
I know this so good, so good. I know the line. Okay, from
I love that
Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. Talking. I guess I'm stupid enough to not ask you what you think, but I learned never to pick against the home team, ever. I saw Roy Reese do it once on Channel 7, pick against the Celtics. I said, Roy, you don't want to do that, whether they're going to lose or not. So I'm not going to make any stupid picks, but obviously, well, I'm not even going to go there because I said we can't predict the future, so why predict the future? But do you have any closing thoughts about what's happened and what might happen?
How about the Patriots winning at Buffalo Sunday night? How about that?
Well, that's a good one. That's a good bailout there, Dan. I like that.
Feel good about that.
Yeah, good. Danny, or Mikey, rather.
That's the first time, and let's see, we're now going on our 59th minute of this chat, and it's other than the Stacey James thing, it's the first time the Patriots have been mentioned. That's going to irk some people in Boston.
I like that.
And we're talking about baseball and not talking about the hometown team in Foxborough.
It's one of the things they had there. Postseason baseball makes football somewhat irrelevant at this particular. Not irrelevant, but it's certainly to a back burner.
Well, if the Sox lose tonight, there'll be a lot of eyeballs in that game Sunday night. That's for sure.
No question about it. No question. Good one.
Imagine going head to head. Who has more eyeballs on it if the Red Sox are playing?
It'll be in the day game, Mike. The weekends will be day games.
Oh, they are?
Positive. Pretty sure.
They already said?
Well, yeah. we don't know, but I'm here to tell you, if the Red Sox played a World Series game and the Patriots were playing, the Patriots would outdraw them, and no doubt in my mind. If the games would start at the same time, I mean, it's just that ship has sailed. I love baseball. But between betting, fantasy, Barstool, the bros, forget it. That's over. You put on Boston Sports Talk Radio, I guarantee you it's all football.
True.
I mean, right? Anytime anyone's watching this, if they switch over to it'll be Patriot Talk, no matter what. It's the way it's evolved. I'm fine with that. It's over. It's okay.
Okay. Good job. That was fun, Dan. That was really fun.
All right, guys, enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, I hope you go to Toronto, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I hope you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Dan.
Enjoyed
Thanks
it.
a lot.
You did a great job. Thanks again.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
And Shaughnessy has been our guest. And join us next time. And make sure you follow us at UnAnchoredBoston.com. And make sure you follow us on YouTube, because we're on YouTube as well. And that's the story there. All right, Lobie, great job. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. We'll see you then.